Artists and fishermen speak two different languages. While one focuses on emotion and making a living out of the intangible, the other has a clear idea of what it takes to make a buck. However, both have challenges and joys that become identities they wouldn't trade for the world. In this previous IG Live, photographer and POCF Bri Dwyer of Deadliest Catch explains how she got involved in the commercial fishing industry, her creative process, and what her partner thinks of her job too. Can you relate? Let's dive in. I'm Megan, host of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. This show is dedicated to girlfriends, fiancés, and wives of commercial fishermen to connect and feel less alone. As we know, this lifestyle isn't for the faint of heart. So this is our space in the world to discuss the highs and lows of being in a romantic relationship with a fisherman. Because it's different than being a family member or friend. It just is. Join in to laugh, vent, and share stories with others who get your lifestyle. So what are you waiting for? Let's dive in. What up? Oh my gosh, Instagram Live. Hello. I'm Megan Waldrop. I am a writer and a partner of a commercial fisherman. My commercial fisherman's actually calling right now. And today I'm going to interview Bri Dwyer, who is also a partner of a commercial fisherman, as well as a photographer for commercial fishing. She's incredible. If you haven't checked out any of her things, there's Bri right now, and I'm going to ask her to join. Boom. So we're going to dig in and see what it's like to have a creative career while also managing your and while managing your POCF duties, managing the household, and finding time for yourself. What's up, Bri?
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I just did a nice full intro of all your talents in photography and the fact that you are a wife of a commercial fisherman, so you know what's up when it comes to balancing that kind of lifestyle. So totally.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well,
I'm learning every day.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Well, I'm going to dive in with some questions and then you fire off and we'll just go down the list. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So first of all, what is it about photography that calls to you? Why that medium?
Photography for me started really early. I was probably about 12 when I first started kind of getting into it. It was just my mom had a digital camera. And I would go and take pictures of flowers and leaves and, whatever it was. And it wasn't until I was in high school that I really kind of started picking it up again and doing portraits. And I shot my first wedding when I was 16. And that was kind of really the only type of photography that I had encountered was portrait photography, wedding photography, family portraits, things like that. And I kind of got burnt out in a really short amount of time with that because I didn't feel, I wasn't feeling creative enough with it. And so it wasn't until I actually moved to Alaska and started kind of being immersed into the commercial fishing industry that I really fell in love with photography again. And I realized just taking photographs of the grittiness of the lifestyle, the hardworking men and women that are out there and telling this story through imagery became this passion for me that I was like, oh my gosh, I fell in love with photography all over again. And I realized that this is how I want to tell my story and other people's stories to the rest of the world.
Beautiful. I love that. And so you had a nice little absence there. From what I read on your site, you said that, I guess some of the hard lessons that you learned in business was also one of the reasons you put that down. So I wanted you to kind of touch on to creativity is the struggle for sure. And then what were some of the business things that you, hurdles that you had to jump?
Well, so when I started when I was 16, I had no idea what business was, It was like, I'm going to do this job. You're going to give me money. And it's as simple as that. And especially with portrait photography, there's a lot of customer service that's involved in that. There's customer service and everything, but specifically on that side of photography, it's person to person, it's retail. And so you're dealing with people on a much more personal level versus commercial and advertising photography. And so when I was figuring it out at such a young age, I think that I was jumping in a little bit too soon, or I kind of started building up this photography business at such an early age without knowing really kind of what was involved in it. And I think that kind of scared me a little bit and kind of put me in a position to not want to do it anymore. I think I gave up pretty quickly only because I was intimidated by the business side of it. So it really wasn't until these last probably 3 or 4 years that I have kind of embraced the business side of photography in this commercial level that has given me a lot more insight just with my learning from my experiences in the past and investing into my own education, taking online classes, working with other photographers and networking with other people in the industry.
I love that. Okay. And now we're going to segue into how you met Sean and what were you creatively doing at the time when you guys met?
So we met in Alaska. I was living in Dutch Harbor, Alaska. How I ended up there was just kind of a random little journey through mutual friends. And I was bartending up there actually. So I wasn't really in this creative mindset yet.
Yeah.
I realized once I got up to Dutch Harbor, I actually started writing a lot more, just kind of about the environment that I was in because it was so different and unique and not a lot of people get to experience Dutch Harbor. So I started writing and I started taking pictures with my cell phone. And if you scroll way down on my Instagram feed, you'll see some cell phone images that I did really early when I was in Dutch Harbor. But so I was bartending and then I was so bored during the days that I picked up a job working for Deadliest Catch on the production side of things. And so that got me around cameras again and got me into kind of a different creative world. And so that's how Sean and I met. So I was bartending. He came in with his crew one night. That's how we met. But I really hadn't jumped into photography again until about a year after that.
Okay. And so I'm sure for an artist, someone trying to get back into something that they're really passionate about can be very scary. And trying to put that identity on yourself can be a whole experience in itself. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Was it difficult to talk to Sean about your passion once you figured out that you wanted to go back to photography since, he is in such an objective industry? And what we do is very subjective, it's art. So how was it trying to explain that to Sean?
Good question. I think Sean was very encouraging of my photography career early on. And he was actually the one that suggested when I was getting ready to go work on the boat up in Alaska with him for the summer, he was the one that suggested that I, take a camera and, pursue this. And so it wasn't, and he had also been familiar with the industry because being on Deadliest Catch, you're around cameras all the time, you're around creative people, producers. And so you kind of get immersed into that a little bit as well. But it wasn't until maybe a year into it when people started recognizing my skill set in photography that I think he realized that this is something I really, really wanted to pursue. And I don't think I realized it even.
Yeah.
And so now I would say, because we both, our career paths are very parallel to each other because it's in the commercial fishing industry.
Yeah.
But because we are also two very different jobs within that industry, we tend to have to practice being good listeners, I think, because I don't always understand what it is that he's trying to communicate with me and vice versa. But the best thing that we can do is be good listeners and support each other, even if we don't know what it's about. I think that's the biggest thing.
I love that because I feel that I feel that very strongly on my end, because now I'm realizing that I just need to maybe step away from being type A and offering suggestions and be like, I trust you to do the right thing and you're do everything great, even though I don't know what that engine part is. And I totally hear you on that one.
Yeah. Well, and trusting too, like, you know, he trusts me that I'm the expert in what I'm doing, and I trust him to be the expert in what he's doing. And yeah, there's times where we ask each other specifically for some advice, but for the most part, it's, you know, it's all about feeling that support from your partner.
Yeah. I love that, which can be hard, especially if they're not used to how you work. And speaking of working, can you explain to us your creative process when, let's start from the beginning, like when you get a shoot, when you go to Alaska, do you have in mind what you want to shoot? Do you just kind of go with the flow after you get those photos? And can you explain to us your creative process until you get them out to the public?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It depends on the client.
Okay.
Every client is different in their deliverables. And so for me, if there's a shot list available that gives me it's like a shot list being like a creative outline. So then I'm able to work off of that and take into consideration like what they're looking for and shoot with that perspective in mind. And then a lot of it is because I'm in an environment an uncontrolled environment out there on boats in rural Alaska. It's kind of just opportunistic. And I think that the clients I'm lucky enough to work with realize that, because they're also typically in the commercial fishing industry and understand that it's very fluid. And so the expectations of my product delivery are always high because I have high expectations for myself. But in terms of the content, sometimes it's all about like being able to provide something that's very authentic. And sometimes that means that there's no direction. It just has to be in the moment up there. And so, but once I'm there, if I have the opportunity to, every boat's different. Sizes of boats are different. Sometimes they're live aboard, sometimes it's just a day trip, but typically I get everything kind of backed up to my
Oh no, is it me? Let's see. Oh wait, there you are. Okay, cool.
It isn't until I get home that I really start to dive into the imagery, and that's really fun for me because I kind of relive my experience all over again.
Yeah.
And I think that once I sit down and I'm kind of going through these images and picking out, you know, it's called culling when you're going through the images. So culling through everything and picking out the images that I'm going to, you know, deliver to the client. It's kind of just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that part of it because it's subjective to how I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah, totally.
And so I go through, pick everything. I start the editing process and then deliver a full gallery. And then, you know, I'm able to pick and choose what I want to put up on my Instagram feed as well.
And so does that, managing your time when Sean's away, I'm sure is a lot easier than when he's home. Is there, do you work better like in the daytime and the night? Do you have some kind of a way that you can have this, you know, normal day-to-day life and also fulfill what you need to do for your soul, you know, to put your art out there?
Yeah. Time management for a freelancer can be really tough. And it was Sean who really taught me early on to keep a normal work day. So, you know, if I'm going to start at, you know, 8 or 9 a.m., whatever that's going to be, and be done by, you know, 5 or 6, because I used to be such a night owl when it came to working that I would work until midnight if I didn't have anybody holding me accountable. And so now I'm kind of used to that work schedule is like, all right, I'm going to work a normal work day as well as that's when everybody else is doing it. You know, that's when my clients are sending and receiving emails, and that's when I'm able to communicate with them. So every once in a while I push past that time, but Sean does the same thing when he's home, because when he's home, he doesn't have a schedule like he does on the boats. And so we both try and be done at the same time, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. That way we can have dinner together and spend the rest of our evening together.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm just doing a time check so I make sure. So I think I'm only going to do one more question so we're not holding it over time. Let's see. So, okay, I'm just going to quick draw it. What are you working on now? Can you explain any creative projects that you got going on?
Well, since I'm about to have a baby any day.
Oh, that's right. You're about to create a child. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I've actually been trying to wrap up a bunch of projects. I'm getting ready to deliver. So I typically do not shoot weddings anymore, but I do for some people that I know or friends of friends. And so I actually have a wedding gallery to deliver, hopefully by today or tomorrow. And then I just wrapped up a website project, and then I have 2 other galleries to get delivered that were just kind of, I was up in Alaska about a month ago on a friend's seiner, and I have that gallery to get delivered as well. But other than that, I'm pretty much going to be done for a while. Yeah. Also want to shout out that you're going to be featured in Food and Home magazine. We're going to be working together for their fall issue. And I'm so excited for your photography to be in there. And also for shout outs, this is another partner of a commercial fisherman, Christina Moore, who wrote and published a friggin' book. So congratulations, girl. There's a blog. My blog today is all about an interview with her and how she did it. Because as we know, it's hard to do. Yeah. The creative stuff because there's really nothing to measure it against. You have no competitors. You're just kind of pouring your heart out there and hoping it connects with somebody else, and try not to let people's negative opinions affect you, and just keep going. It's just like being an open wound. It's really fun. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like we don't know any other way. That's the way that we know how to create. So thank you so much, Bri, for your time today, and good luck with the baby and the birthing of the baby. I can't wait to hear more Thank you very much.
Awesome. Take care. We love you, and we'll see you around.
All right.
Bye. And I don't know how to stop it. What's up, guys? I have no idea how to stop this thing, so let me figure this out. And if you don't know, I'm Megan. I am a writer and a partner of a commercial fisherman. My husband is a spiny lobster fisherman in Santa Barbara, California, and a sockeye salmon fisherman in Bristol Bay. So he's a captain in California and a deckhand up in Alaska. So I've seen many sides of the coin when it comes to commercial fishing in the 6 years that we've been together now. Still learning a ton because obviously that's a never-ending pool of knowledge. And what I focus on is the emotional part of being with a commercial fisherman and what it's like for their partners at home. Of course, managing the families, taking care of the home bills, you name it. People are shoveling snow. I mean, there's no end. But then also trying to navigate, having your own space and your own time and doing what nourishes your soul so you can do it for your partner and your family. So thank you all for being here. I hope to see you all again, and take care. See you on the blog. Bye.
If you want to connect with more POCFs just like you, join the private forum at meganwaldrop.com/private-forum. Or even better, if you want to hang out in real life, there's an all-inclusive POCF retreat happening this fall, 2023. Visit meganwaldrop.com/retreat-2023. And you can find both links in the show notes. We would love to meet you.
Hey, y'all. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. To support our community, I'd love for you to join us by subscribing to this podcast, hitting the like button, and/or posting a review. And if you're a POCF looking for more resources on how to navigate this unique lifestyle, things from long-distance dating to motherhood advice and everything in between, visit meganwaldrop.com. That's meganwaldrep.com. We can't wait to connect with you. Thanks for listening today. Being here means you're a part of the POCF family, and we wouldn't be a community without you. I'm Megan, and this is the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. As always, much love, POCF pride, and remember, you are not alone.